This is what we call the Summit Roadside panel. They're all connected, interconnected, these companies, and Lionsgate, of course, and doing some great movies that are being touted for this awards season. Anyway, he is also the co-creator and executive producer of the CBS series called Jarecki that was on, and he did a Broadway show called Sexaholics. He wrote the screenplay for Rent. He's very versatile. Please welcome Stephen Chbosky. Right here, sure.
Oh, great.
All right.
Okay. Hello?
Oh, hello. Yeah, have a seat right here. That's great.
You know what I love is when you do the introduction, like, the writers of all these films, crickets. Like, oh, my people.
We love writers. Okay, and here, speaking of writers, is the writer-director of Arbitrage, a fantastic movie out now. He also co-wrote The Informers. He produced Tyson. He's very versatile. He wrote a book also called Breaking In, how to film directors get their start. And has really gotten rave reviews for this big feature film he did, Arbitrage. Please welcome Jarecki, Nicholas Jarecki.
Hello.
And the co-star of that film, who got rave reviews, playing Jimmy Grant. You saw him in The Great Debaters, Red Tails, Red Hook Summer, The Secret Life of Bees, many, many others. Please welcome Nate Parker. And I mentioned this movie in the Moguls panel to Rob Friedman. It's called The Impossible, and it's coming out in December. It's remarkable. It's director Juan Antonio Bayona. It stars Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts. And this is the man who wrote it. He also did The Orphanage, also with Juan Antonio Bayona. They've worked together quite a bit. Please welcome Sergio Sánchez. I got to congratulate you, because not many people get to do what you've done, which is to write a book and then actually get to adapt it and then to direct it all, the same property. It doesn't happen that often. Can you tell us how it happened this time and why it took 12 years?
This book is really personal to me. I wrote it when I was a young man, and I think because of the response that it got, the very personal response to some kids who've been through things like that, I always wanted to make the movie. And the way I did it was, but I had to do it myself. I couldn't sell it. I had many offers. I turned them all down because I saved my money, took my time, I wrote it on spec, and then when I knew that the script was right, it took me about a year. When I knew the script was right, that's when I went and got my producers, and that's when we got Emma and Logan, and then we went out. This was the hardest adaptation I ever did in my whole career, because I think in order to adapt something, you have to be removed, intellectually removed, to be able to see it clearly. The emotional work that it took to go there and to remember as an older person, I'm 42 now, to remember as an older person what it was like to, feel those feelings and be in that room again. It's in Pittsburgh where I grew up, and it was important to me to go back and to film on the streets where I used to run around when I was 2, and it gave it a sense of authenticity, not only for me, but I know specifically for the actors. And Emma, Ezra, and Logan all. And
Emma particularly is a bit of a revelation for those who only know her from Harry Potter.
Yes.
But here she really got to do a very different kind of role, and I imagine it sort of freed her a little bit, too.
It did. I remember when I met her for the first time, and I think she'd finished filming, but the last movie had not come out. And the person that I met, she was this, I don't know, I could feel it. She's so talented. We all knew that she was talented, but she had so much to prove to herself. Really not to anybody else, but to herself.
Now, Nicholas Jarecki here, you've really knocked it out of the park on the first time here. I mean, this movie...
Oh, thank you, Pete.
...really got, as you obviously know, great reviews. Richard Gere has gotten the best reviews of his entire career, and a lot of Oscar talk. Nate has gotten incredible reviews, too.
Before I was in movies, and oddly, I only discovered this about Nate Parker about 2 months ago, but I was a computer hacker, as was Nate. And so I had actually started a computer business, and I'd raised some money. So I knew the workings of the world of business, and I knew kind of the people and the players, where they go, how they move and sit, and who with. And so it felt like a natural world to explore, because there's a Shakespearean dynamic to the hubris, the stakes, and the egos of the players involved, and it felt like a modern theme.
In this business, as a young actor, when you have an opportunity to work with a bigger actor, you only hope that they live up to your expectations of them, whether it be integrity, whether it be just kindness. You never know. You hear stories. So when I met him, I was just hoping that he would be the person that I would, projected him to be. And the first thing he said when he walked in the door, because he came after I did, he opens his arms and says, "I'm so happy you're here," and gave me this big hug. And it was like 10 minutes later rehearsing, and it completely broke down any kind of wall that could have been created, and that's how it was. I mean, it was that kind of set where I felt like I always had the opportunity to kind of throw my ideas at a situation. If Richard thought I could give more, he's like, you don't hold back, give it all, throw it all out there. If I'm able to do this, portray a human being with real conflict and with a real moral compass, and then we talked film. He has a great knowledge of film, and I know a little bit.
And so what's so interesting, and I think comes through in the film, even in the scene we just saw, is that there's a real core of love and affection between these characters, even buried under these layers of resentments and wrong turns. And so I'm just thinking back to that day when we were in my apartment. Richard did give you the big hug. Even subconscious or not, I think that you guys very early on established that friendship and trust that would have been the underpinning of why you would have ever helped him in the movie, because there must have been a goodness in that relationship originally. And it's interesting to me. So. And
then The Impossible, which opens in December from Summit, is an extraordinary true story. It is about a family that was on vacation in Thailand when the tsunami hit a few years ago, and were separated. How this came about, how the screenplay came about, how you found the story of this family, and why you wanted to write it.
Well, it was our producer, Belen, who listened to the story. I believe it was on the 3rd anniversary of the tsunami. Maria was on the radio telling her story, and Belen was on her way to a shopping mall to finish her Christmas shopping. And she heard the story, and she actually had to stop the car because she couldn't stop crying. So we met with Maria. We listened to her story for like 3 hours. And after that, it was just like 6 months working.
Maria is the Naomi Watts
character. Maria
is
the character in the movie's based on.
The real family is a Spanish family.
Yes.
But obviously, Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor are not Spanish. You went a different way in making the movie. Can you explain why?
So we thought it would be interesting to make them sort of an international family that's been traveling. And they talk about going home, but you never know where that home is. And we thought this could make the story more universal.
And very universal in the sense that, this is the stuff of disaster movies that we've seen in Hollywood a million times and things. What is this story? It really is about family. And it's about family surviving. And even though it has the disaster element, which is extraordinarily well done, that's not what you wanted to do. This is a very emotional movie. There are actual real survivors of the tsunami, right?
Yes. Actually, we shot the movie at the very same hotel where it happened. And in the real hospital where Maria was.
They rebuilt that hotel.
They rebuilt that like 2 years after that. They just changed. They took away all the bungalows and they built like a new wing of the hotel.
Well, it's an extraordinary movie. I've seen it twice. Wait till you see it. It's definitely something you've got to check out. And all these movies, you've obviously seen these movies, but if you haven't, check them out. This is a great panel. I congratulate all of you writers and directors, for doing it. Let's thank them.